My name is Rusty, and I'm a Bucks nerd. Tonight on Breaking Down Bucks, we're going to touch on the Bucks playing down in Chicago, an absolute fiasco to a shorthanded Bulls team, and then we'll break down in detail the Bucks playing the Hawks next on Breaking Down Bucks. Yes. Nothing but illustrious guests. Coach has the same starting lineup in tonight. Welcome back to the show, gentlemen. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Yeah, so we missed a game. Bucks were down in Chicago on Thursday night. What's your initial reaction to that game, Dust?
Anytime you play a shorthanded team, you always want to pull away with a win. But against Chicago, I think that's a little contradicting of a bad loss, I would say. Yes, you want to beat Chicago, a struggling team, but that team is lacking chemistry, and that's just not a good team overall with their starting lineup. So I think they actually had a little bit of an advantage without their best two players out there.
Yeah, Drew, and it looked like they started a couple former Bucks.
Yeah, little bit of an addition by subtraction, though. I mean, it looks like the guys that they had out there just played harder and wanted to win, and I think putting a couple former Bucks out there definitely added fuel to the fire and got the energy going for them.
Yep, unfortunately, they fell down early, got down as much as 14, I think, and clawed back in the game. At the end of the game, they were up 3, had a chance to foul, and they didn't, Dust. What'd you think of that?
Yeah, Griffin said he was wrong. I mean, I'm always a foul guy in any situation, but yeah, I mean, it's just a learning situation, I guess. I hope they foul going forward every time.
It's a learning piece going forward, but in the NBA, I'm always a foul guy. I get it in college because of the percentages, but NBA, I mean, I was telling Drew earlier, it's basically they make the first and then they purposely miss the second. They don't even try to make both of them and then play the foul game. They just take the chance right away. So I'll take our 4 rebounders against their 2.
Drew, are you a foul guy?
I'm typically not a foul guy. That might be an age thing, but I think in that circumstance, you probably outright can foul because Austin's right. They're going to purposely try to miss the second. So what you're really banking on is that we've got better rebounders than they do. And if you don't trust Giannis to get a rebound for you in crunch time, then what are we even doing out here?
Yeah, moving on to the Hawks game tonight, gentlemen. Just a couple pregame notes. Bucks come in with a record of 13-6. That is currently 3rd in the East. Hawks come in with a record of 9-9. That is 9th in the East. No Jay, no Ajax, and no Pat Kahn for the Bucks. Didn't look like Jalen Johnson was playing for the Hawks as well. Yeah, Chris got the scoring going early. Drew, what'd you see from him early in the first quarter?
He looked good. He was making shots. It's good to see Chris get started like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looked like Griff turned to a lineup with Brooke and Bobby at the same time. Did you like that lineup, Dust?
I think it can give some interesting offensively, but defensively, I think it's going to do some matchups for the opposing team that we don't like. But I think we're going to have a lot of different lineups that we're not used to with Connaughton going down. We're going to be a little short.
Yeah, I think with that lineup, I think the teams will run and gun against us a lot more. We're just slower, so they'll run and gun. And if we're lazy on D, we're going to be giving up 120, 130 a night. So.
Yeah, it looked like Bogdanovich is getting significant minutes, obviously, for the Hawks. It's a free agent that the Bucks struck out on a few years ago. Drew, any regrets not getting Bogdanovich?
He's a solid player, but no regrets. We were trying to get him, and we ended up getting a chip instead. So
the Bucks finished the first quarter up 42-37. Kind of a back and forth affair. Bucks couldn't get really any defensive rhythm going there, Drew.
Yeah, not at all, and they haven't been able to all year. I think it's a combination of things. I think by design, they don't play very hard until the last 5 minutes of the game. At least that's what it looks like through the first 20-something games of the season so far. So that, and, you know, they're older guys. I mean, even when you're talking about Lillard and, you know, you got Chris trying to defend out there. When you have a combo of guys that just aren't that fast anymore, it makes it very difficult to defend for 48 minutes.
All right, let's move into the second quarter. Looked like Giannis pulled up early from the elbow in the second quarter there, Austin. Do you like Giannis shooting more of those elbow jumpers?
I do. First half, third quarter, but at the fourth, I think I saw him pull up for one of those elbow jumpers late and missed it. And those are the possessions I don't like, because that's kind of giving the defense what they want. But I love him getting his shots and getting his rhythm during the game. So absolutely, he's earned those.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Trae Young got it going there a little bit in the second quarter, Dust.
Yeah, Trey's a great player. I think he's one of the most underrated players as far as guard-wise in the league. I mean, yeah, he's a top 5, 6 player is what he's respected as, but there's nights where he can be pretty unstoppable. His pick-and-roll game is arguably the best, and his lobs to his big man, all he needs is an athletic big man, and he can get it done down there. So Trey's a great player.
Yeah, I think his eyes light up whenever he sees Milwaukee on the calendar too, because I mean, he just torches us every time, point total wise. I mean,
Yeah,
he
what did
gets
he give us?
shots.
48 in the playoffs when that one year.
Mm-hmm.
Drew, do you like the backcourt of him and DeJounte Murray?
I do. There's a lot of offense in that backcourt. They don't defend particularly well. I don't know, man. Again, maybe I'm just getting old. Maybe it's just that's today's NBA, where everybody wants to score 135 every single night, and that's the goal. And if that's the goal, those two guys can help you get there.
I kind of think that's what the league wants.
I mean, it kind of reminds me, like, you can almost compare it to baseball, moving to like the home run and strikeout. Like, that's the way the game is moving. It's like, I don't know, I'm just not a fan.
Or
I
the
like
NFL going to a heavy passing game and all the rules benefiting receivers and offenses.
Yeah. That's right.
Does Giannis, in a way, even seem to relax go relax on the defensive end of the ball? Because I mean, if you think about it, Giannis could probably get a stop every single possession if he went 110%. Is he saving himself too? Is that like just the new era of just relaxing on defense?
Austin?
I would say Giannis is like one of the top tier players on giving effort on defense. That's why he competes for a defensive player of the year every year. So, I mean, Giannis, I can't really blame, but I mean, as a team, we are in shambles right now. I feel like we've been beating the same drum for 2 weeks talking about this defense. So maybe this week and going into this tournament against the Knicks and hopefully moving on to Vegas for the Final Four, I would love to see some defensive effort all 4 quarters.
And Trae Young hasn't really gotten off to a great start for the Hawks. They were saying that he is third worst in effective field goal percentage in the league, Drew.
I don't know, because I'm not a stats and analytics guy, but I can tell you he did not look good at the end of the game. When the Bucks decided they were going to start playing defense in the last 5 minutes, he couldn't do anything. He couldn't get by Chris Middleton at the end of the game. Chris Middleton locked him up.
Word. Yeah, so it was 63-67 Bucks at half. Let's move on to the third quarter. So early in the third quarter, Drew, the Hawks were able to grab the lead finally.
Yeah, Coach Griff took an early timeout, and the energy wasn't good. The energy wasn't good from the crowd either. It looked like it was about a tenth full, and I'm starting to wonder if they need to expedite the food and bathroom lines at halftime to get people back in their seats, because it is every single start of the third. It's just an empty arena out there, and it's really weird to watch, and it's got to be even more weird to play in.
And Drew, did you see those Dame back-to-back turnovers?
Yeah, careless with the basketball. And it wasn't just him. Other guys were being careless with the basketball too. Giannis was being careless with the basketball. Chris was being careless with the basketball. It wasn't just the young guy, and the young guys were being kind of careless with the basketball as well. So, but to see it out of the veteran guys, not good.
And this is Quinn Snyder's first year with the Hawks, Dawson.
Yeah, he did good things in Utah. So I mean, it's a good hire for them. I know they've been having a new coach. I think they had the interim coach, and then he got hired. Nate McMillan was hired for a couple of years, but And there's still that team that's like they're going to make the playoffs or the play-in tournament and get in, maybe scratch a round out, but that's kind of their ceiling right now. I love their backcourt like we talked about earlier, but that's their ceiling.
And then we finally got one of them Dame logo shots. Dust, are you a fan of Dame pulling up from logo range?
Yeah, I mean, as long as we're ready for it, I think offensively, if we're down there and set, we can get the rebound. But he's making that better than he is from closer to the line. So anywhere Dame has the ball across the 3-point or across the half court line, I'm good with it.
And the Bucks finished the third up 99-98, and moving into the fourth. So the fourth, Drew, the Bucks started off with Bezo defending Trey early on. What'd you think of that?
Not a fan. I wasn't a fan of the way that he defended all night. I was really, to be honest, haven't been a huge fan of the way that he's defended all year. It looked like Trey might go off for a career night in the second half.
And really good minutes from Cam tonight, new season high.
He did. He stood out in the fourth. That was my biggest takeaway from the fourth. At this point, we can start playing him with Dame a ton. I mean, not just the minutes. He's earned that time. So, and he was talking that smack to that crowd. I love to see that too. Got the energy going.
So there was a great contest from Dame on a DeJounte Murray mid-range jumper where they got the stop, and Giannis was able to finish on an and-one on the other end, Drew.
That's that last 5 minutes of Bucks basketball that we've become accustomed to seeing at this point. Like, Dame turns into a really good defender, if we're being honest, in the last 4 or 5 minutes of games, which is weird when you watch the whole game and see his effort for a full 48. But it's good to see that he can turn it on.
And I will say, after Giannis put that in, it was kind of hidden in the camera, but I don't know if you saw, he gave us one of the wiggles, one of Beasley's wiggles. I don't know if it's going around the team now.
Yeah, the patented Bezo wiggle to close the game. Kind of in the mix there late too. Brooke had a monster block on Trey, and the Bucks were able to pull away at the end, 132-121 for a nice win.
My only thing was I thought it was questionable, and I don't mean to pile on Beasley at this point, but I thought it was questionable coaching decision. I understand he wanted to go back to Chris for that again, last 5 minute push. But Cam Payne was playing really well for us in the fourth quarter. And to keep Beasley out there, who really didn't give us anything until the last second 3-pointer in the corner, and which ended up giving Giannis a triple-double, his first of the season. But I thought Cam Payne earned those minutes and earned a chance to finish with the starting five. And Griff didn't give him that opportunity tonight, and I wonder why.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Cam at the end of the game. Maybe he was gassed. All right, let's move into overtime here. All right, gentlemen, I got a few things for you I wanted to get to. First, I just want to let everybody know we got a Twitter page. If you guys have any questions for us, please go and ask questions right from the Twitter page. It's @DownBucks on Twitter. Check us out there. Secondly, our next game is going to be Tuesday versus the Knicks in an in-season tournament game, Austin.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping like I said, we bring the defense and bring the energy because, that looks like a fun little tournament right there. I didn't realize that Indiana was playing that well in the tournament because kind of all seven other teams you kind of expect to be in there, but Indiana, that's kind of a shocker.
One of the surprises to me is New Orleans, Dust.
New Orleans, they've got once they're healthy, they just have been struggling to stay healthy the last couple of years. So, they're a young group with Zion and Brandon, and they got CJ as well. But they're a solid group. I'm excited to see what they do in this tournament.
And another surprise to me were the Kings, Drew.
Yeah, I think all these teams are good teams. I don't have a problem with the teams. I still don't understand how the seeding goes. Was Indiana also undefeated, or did they have the same record as somebody else? How did they get the 2 instead of the 3 or the 4?
Yeah, so I know there was 3 pools. So obviously us, Indiana, and Boston won our pools. So obviously they had some tiebreaker over Boston. But then the Knicks were the wild card that made it in.
Yeah, and there's also obviously the scoring differential plays a part.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sure it came down to that.
What don't know, they say this is our game on Tuesday is an extra home game. Are they going to flex out a game against the Knicks later in the season, or is this just an extra game? Let us know down in the comments. Next, I wanted to move on to Name That Buck. I thought I'd kind of throw a softball here for the young fellows who haven't got one yet.
Appreciate you.
Who's this buck, gentlemen?
Oh, that is.
Once again, Drew has 2. I've stumped the field 2, and the young fellows have 0.
Is that Glenn Robinson?
Hell no, that ain't Glenn Robinson.
Drew?
Drew?
My immediate thought was a shaved head OJ Mayo, but I was like, then no way.
Dust? Nothing?
Muhammad?
That is correct, Dust. That is correct, sir. Congratulations. That is Shabazz Muhammad.
Yeah, that was too young, too
I
fresh for
thought
me.
it was a random. It wasn't a guess, but I was scared to say Shabazz Muhammad, so I just threw it out there. But I'll take it.
So Shabazz Muhammad from UCLA played 7 years in the NBA, but only played in 24 games. So obviously he couldn't stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
The most games he played in the season was 11 for the Bucks in 17-18. And that year he averaged 8.5 points a game, shot 37% from 3 and 55% from the field. So solid offensive numbers from him when he was able to stay healthy. I kind of wanted to get your input. I'll start with you, Drew. Who has a better upside? Jalen Johnson from Nicolay in Milwaukee via Sun Prairie, or Andre Jackson Jr.? Who's got the better upside, Drew?
Don't play around with me, Z. Don't play around with me. Jalen has a much better. Jalen's averaging like 15 a game right now. Much better upside.
Austin, who would you rather have?
Jalen.
Dust, is it that obvious? Am I that oblivious?
Jalen.
My bad, yo. Let's move on.
Hey, Ajax is a winner. We'll take
Have
that.
we had one outside of Brogdon that wasn't? I mean, you picked who was Brogdon with? It was Brogdon and who?
It was Brogdon and
Cameron
Campaign.
Payne.
Yeah, and you picked Campaign. I guess it showed tonight. Maybe Campaign was it, but other than that, it's like we've been across the board all the same player.
I guess if I have to make an argument for the sake of Ajax, I will say we see Jalen went from high school to high school to high school. I mean, if he was in college, yeah, I'm sure he would have went transfer portal, and Ajax was just straight to UConn all 4 years. I mean, got a chip. He's a winner. So,
and another thing is fit too. With us at least, is he about Ajax? Maybe a better fit. Jalen Johnson's kind of like he's another one of those ego a little bit kind of guys, I would say. But fit comes into play too.
And we drafted him in the second round. So how many guys are you getting that are quality out of the second round in the NBA?
We'll see. I created some good banter amongst the cast here with that question.
You did.
And Ajax has loyalty inside his DNA. So, and then let's move on to some subscriber questions. Leo, our guy from the Philippines, just basically had a statement here, Austin. Well-balanced scoring from the starting 5. It's hard to stop them when they're having a game like this, especially when Giannis and Dame both drop 30. He's referring to the game before the Bulls. Who did we play then? When Dame and Giannis had 30.
It might have been the second Wizards game maybe. But, again, I think there was a graphic that came up a game ago where it's like we're 6 or 7-0 when Dame and Giannis both score 30. So, I mean, I think Shaq was touching on that when we had that primetime game against the Heat. And it's just like if they both go get theirs, I mean, back to that going to score 130 a game to win. It's like if they go get theirs, we're going to win.
Moving on to our next question from the Pontooners. Miroslav Radulija, after 0.2 seconds, squad 6 stand up. Drew?
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in myself for not getting that one. I was in the BC when there were 1,200 people in the arena and there were 40 dudes in squad 6 just chanting Miroslav, Miroslav. So shame on me.
Yeah, get on the Jumbotron, take your shirt off, wave it around your head like a helicopter. Is there another version of Squad 6 right now?
No. Banned by the league. They had a live snare drum up there, dude. There was nobody cared. They did 50-cent shots at scooters across the street before the game.
Did Steve Chudy single-handedly save the Bucks?
I believe that. I believe Steve Chudy and his handmade cutout sign saved the Bucks. At least got us in the arena.
And lastly, gentlemen, I want your reaction. Dust, you shared this with the group earlier this week. And Dust, you shared this with the group earlier this week. I wanted to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, just hard to watch. Beasley's, again, struggling on the perimeter. I've seen better defense in a YMCA pickup game.
All right, gentlemen, that's all I have for tonight. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add in?
How about them Badgers, eh?
I was about to say we
Yeah.
couldn't leave without touching on that.
I know Wes Matthews was in town for the game tonight. Do you think he had a chance to watch the game, Drew?
Yeah, I'm sure Wes watched the game. I'm sure at the Bradley Center, Wes was chirping. I bet there were Badger fans chirping at him, and he was chirping back, telling them that all their former players are, used car salesmen and selling insurance.
Hey, how come we're not calling for Shaka Smart? Shaka Smart's job, but we call for Greg Gard's job, eh? Who's 3-0 versus each other?
Who's calling
Greg
for
Gard
Greg?
owned Shaka Smart.
Hey, he might, dude. He might be. He might be.
All right, enough piling on, Drew. I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. The Bucks playing the Knicks at home Tuesday in the tournament game. Hopefully, we will see you after the Knicks game. Appreciate it, y'all. Peace.